Hello and welcome back to the Grapple Theory podcast. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Now we're heading down under for today's podcast interview. We're joined by a very special guest who's a veteran of the Aussie scene, but also the American, and over here in the UK as well. She's wrestled plenty and we hope to see her back hopefully next year. We discussed that in the podcast. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully she'll be back next year to wrestle in the UK. We're going to be talking to her about all that, her ambitions for next year, about Christmas, because it's coming up to Christmas, about Christmas in Australia and what it's like, how it differs to over here as well, and loads more. Delighted to welcome Shazza McKenzie to the podcast today. Now, before we start the interview, I should say apologies for my camera during this chat. It seemed to go a little bit haywire. I'm not sure what happened, but rest assured you'll be able to see Shazza perfectly fine. All that is good her end. My camera went a bit glitchy and weird, so you might just want to sort of skip through my bits, but you know, there's nothing to see with me anyway, so it's fine. Delighted to welcome Shazza onto the podcast, and I'll hand it over to past myself, who when this was recorded, to get things started. Shazza McKenzie, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. We normally start by asking people just about the year that they've had, because it's coming up to the end of the year now, and it's been sort of just over a year since wrestling properly returned. How would you rate 2022 as a year for Shazza McKenzie?
Oh gosh, I think it's been a hell of a year. I think it's been a pretty good year. It's been a really fun, exhausting, crazy year. I think like the start of this year, I started this year with I think 2 days into this year, I had COVID and I was locked in my house for like a week because we still had really strict quarantine things. And then by the end of this year, I've spent, 4 months overseas and been to a new country and wrestled. I think I was looking at my cage match, and apparently I've wrestled more matches this year than any other year that I've been wrestling.
Damn.
So I guess it's been okay.
That's a good comeback year. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
But it's always good to be busy, isn't it? It's better to be busy than not. I'm sure that's because we've spoken to a few wrestlers that have said that. I guess that was the concern coming back, is how would the calendar look in terms of bookings, because no one really knew what the landscape was going to be like.
Yeah, exactly. It's been throughout the whole pandemic, here in Australia, we had a lot of stop-start. So we had when we were closed, we were very closed, and then we would kind of be open, and so we'd be like, hell yeah, everything's going, and then they'd be like, no, it's not open, get back in your house. And so it was a lot of stop-start for a while. So it took a while to even when I was going overseas, for the first time that I went overseas earlier in the year, and we still had to do tests before we got on the plane, and we had to have all this stuff. But even then, everyone was like, well, obviously, they're like, are you excited? And I was like, I won't be excited until I'm there. Because at this point, we've had shows cancelled on a day's notice. At any point, this could all come crashing down. So until I'm physically there doing things, I'm not going to get excited for things, because that's kind of what we got used to being like. And I think now I feel okay being excited for things. I'm probably still going to get crushingly heartbroken, and things are going to get taken away at some point, because that's just wrestling in general. Things always just fall apart, and you should never get excited for anything before it actually happens in wrestling. But just in general in life, I feel a bit more optimistic that I can make plans for the future and they're going to actually happen.
For sure. Well, you talk about things falling apart. I mean, as we're recording this, Twitter's currently falling apart. Is there, by the time this goes out, it may already be down. It may be gone forever, so we'll see. But, as a wrestler, as someone who not only in the ring, but outside the ring relies quite heavily on social media as a presence, is that something that's a concern?
Look, yeah, it's definitely a concern. I think we'll all find a way. We'll figure people will find a way, and we'll figure out a way of communicating, and someone will come up with something that's a similar concept to Twitter, and we'll all go there, or we'll go back to the message boards. I've been wrestling long enough that I remember the message boards. I remember the days when we had Facebook. I was a wrestler on MySpace. When I started wrestling, Shazza McKenzie had a MySpace page. So I remember time before social media, so I'm not that stressed. Plus, also in Australia, no one uses Twitter. So, it's like the downfall of Twitter is such a non-event in Australia. So everyone's like, like it only affects me because I think like a majority of my fan base is in America, so that affects me in that sense. But like day-to-day life, Twitter is nothing. Like if I tell someone in Australia that's not involved in wrestling that I have like 60,000 followers on Twitter, they're like, who? Like, where are these people coming from? Who is using Twitter? Because it's just not a thing here.
So what do people in Australia use? What's the go-to social?
I don't know. Probably Instagram. People still use Facebook a little bit here. I don't, but I mean, like I have it, but like, I mean, maybe we'll just go back to Facebook. Like we use like I don't know. I mean, we still use Facebook for like Facebook events and stuff. Like we still have Facebook groups, and I don't know. Maybe we'll all just get on WhatsApp, and they'll like I don't know what we'll do. But yeah, I think like mainly people use Instagram. Like, say you have like a big following on Instagram in Australia, is like that's impressive.
That's when people are like, "Damn, this person is a celebrity," basically.
Yeah. Right. When I got verified on Instagram, I was like, oh, now I've made it. Because getting verified on Twitter was like, no one cares.
They're just like, what is that? Don't even care. Doesn't even matter. Inconsequential.
Exactly. It's a non-event.
So talk to me about the Aussie wrestling scene, because obviously, you know, wrestling a bit more there during like the pandemic when travel wasn't really a thing. It seemed like the Aussie scene, I've said this too, we've had Joel Bateman, we've had Charlie Evans on the podcast, and I've said to both that it seems like the Aussie scene is just really underrated as a scene in itself. But it seemed like the pandemic was almost a boost for it in a way, because there were so many sort of big stars who went home because of the pandemic that scene got a real lift because people couldn't travel, and so that was the only sort of wrestling that was available.
Yeah, look, I would say that Aussie wrestling got completely destroyed by the pandemic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Personally, it felt like we were very much on the cusp of a lot of good things, and then it all got ripped away from us and destroyed, and we spent when we first went into lockdown in March of 2020, and then we had our first show out of lockdown, which was like a no fans show or whatever in like October. So that's like, I don't know, 6 months or something of our lives that were gone.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. And then we kind of like, we had lots of like capacity limits and stuff. And so like people were home, like Aussie Open came home and Charlie Evans came home and everything. But like we'd get this momentum and then shows would get cancelled and we'd end up back in lockdown. So it was like, it was such a hard time. Like there was multiple shows that like, because we had lots of like interstate like border closures as well. Like, so we didn't just have our like country wasn't just boarded off. We were like not able to travel interstate.
Oh, right.
So like if I had a booking on like, say everything like Saturday and this happened, like, so like say I had a booking in Melbourne for Deathmatch Down Under on Saturday, but then New South Wales decided that they were going to close their borders to all the states, even if there was no COVID case in New South Wales and there was no COVID case in Melbourne, I wasn't allowed to leave.
Right, so, I didn't know
like,
that.
Like, unless you were literally wrestling like 30 minutes from your house, and like then again everything could get shut down. It was the worst time ever.
No, sure. I saw meant like more. I saw meant like more coming out of lockdown. It seems like it sort of like hit the ground running again. It seems like it's still like, I don't know how it feels for you as someone who's actually there, but that's how it seems on the outside.
Oh, I'm glad that it feels like that. I feel like we did a lot of work pre-pandemic to finally like be on the scene, and I feel like we're maybe like we're not where we were pre-pandemic yet, but we're getting there. I think we're pretty close to it now. But like it was, it's been a rough 2 years. I sound very pessimistic.
No, understandably.
Like, it took us years to get to where we were pre-pandemic, and it all got kind of just sucked out of us, and now we're still in the Like we went hard from the second we as soon as whenever they say we're allowed to wrestle, we're going.
Yeah.
But it's just like to get back on like being seen by the rest of the world seems 20 times harder now. Because I just think the whole wrestling landscape has changed and people's attention spans are so much shorter, and like unless you're literally in their face constantly, it just everyone's brain just goes, oh cool, 5-second clip by 5-second clip by. It's just what it is.
Yeah, no,
life.
sure. No, understandable. Again, from the outside, it seems like you guys are doing really well, and like it seems like the scene is.
We're great. Like we're all really like everyone's really good wrestlers, and they're putting on really good shows. I just think that like more people need to watch us wrestle. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what I mean. It's so underrated. Like you get people from like the sort of oceanic region, Australia, New Zealand, who like make it big, AEW, WWE, and people are like, oh, these people are great wrestlers. But then there's so much like undiscovered talent on that scene that sort of should be given that boost, should be getting that boost. Because it is a fantastic scene. Like I'd say it could rival anyone, but it just doesn't seem to get that attention that the rest do, that America or England or Japan do.
Yeah, because we're like an isolated little island at the bottom of the world. And wrestling's just not really popular in Australia, like in general. Like it's not part of the culture the way it is part of the culture in America, or like the way it has like that history in England and the way it has the history in Mexico and Japan and everything like that. So it's not part of the culture. It's still very underground. And so like, yeah, I think we have really good wrestlers because we don't have that much wrestling. So a lot more time gets spent training, which like, if you're in a scene where you're wrestling constantly, you're not, if you're wrestling 4 times a week, you're not going to add a 5th day of bumping for 2 hours for no reason. Like that's just stupid for your body. Whereas like if you're wrestling twice a month, you can go hard training and get really crisp and all this stuff like that as well. Like in between it all.
No, sure. So how nice was it then to sort of like in terms of get out of that again and go back to like America for your run over there, and like, you know, sort of, I guess, is it almost like experiencing it for the first time all over again, going out after something like that, after you've not been there for so long?
I think this, like, so I've been to America something like 20 times or something stupid, an obscene amount of times if you think about how much plane tickets cost.
You might as well just move out there.
Well, I would, but their country has they're not really like fond of immigrants. I don't know if anyone picked up on that.
It's come up, hasn't it? It's come up, yeah.
Yeah. They're not like, please come, everyone's welcome. So that otherwise it would be an option. But because I'd been so many times, and every time I go, I wrestle and I go to my hotel and I go to my gym and I just do whatever I do. And so like this time, like when I went back in March, I was like, no, like I need to see America. Like I need to do things that are not just wrestle, because now I realize it can be taken away at any point in time. Because like I'd always be like, well, I'll go see it the next time I'm here. Like there's always the next time. There's always the next time. But then there wasn't the next time for years. So now I'm a lot more like, if someone's like, hey, do you want to go do this thing? I'm like, yes, I don't care if I've had 2 hours sleep. Like we're gonna go see whatever we're gonna do. Like, let's go. Let's figure it. Like, you got to live life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a lot of people come at life that way now, post pandemic, when you know everything got stripped away. So now we're like, hey, like life's short. Let's go.
Yeah, it gives you that sort of push that you wouldn't have had before, because again, like you say, you're always like, oh, I'll do it next time. But then it sort of makes you realize, oh, there might not be a next time.
Exactly. You never know. Like, life is so unpredictable. So if you get the chance to go hike up some hill in Los Angeles one morning and you slept for an hour and you're tired and you don't really want to do it, just go do it, because you don't know if you're going to be able to do it the next time you're there. So, or you don't know if you're going to be there next time. So just go do it. Go do whatever you want to do. Just if you're going to be you think you're too tired and it's not worth it, it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, well said, well said. Well, we're recording this sort of in the lead up to Christmas. Obviously, at the time we're recording this, it's mid-November. This is going out early December. So we're getting sort of in the festive spirit here at Grapple Theory. Obviously, for someone who is a British, and I guess for our American audience as well, Christmas in Australia seems like a wild thing because it's obviously a very different experience to what we have over here. So what is a traditional Christmas in Australia for Shazza McKenzie?
A traditional Christmas, there's it's a barbecue. We usually have a barbecue. I'm a big fan of barbecue. Sometimes one of the people are like, "Hey, let's have a roast," and I say, and I'm like, "That's fine. We can have a roast, or whatever." But like, it's 40 degrees out. I don't really want to have a roast. But like sometimes people just want to, and that's fine. I'm not cooking. First things first, I'm not the one cooking, so I'll eat whatever. But usually barbecue out in the sun. Everyone just gets together, hangs out, eats a lot of food, and then sleeps for the rest of the day.
Nice.
And then maybe wakes up and eats some leftovers.
Yeah,
that's a usual thing, right?
no, nice.
Eat a lot.
I mean, the sleep thing I get.
Eat a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, the sleep thing I relate to. The leftovers thing I relate to. That makes sense because I think that's part of anyone's Christmas is you eat too much and then you go to bed and then you have some more. The barbecue thing, not so much. I wouldn't recommend that in England in December. I don't think that's the way to go.
You can have like an indoor barbecue. I think barbecues are great. Not that roasts aren't great, but I just generally speaking, if I had to choose a barbecue over a roast for any given occasion, I would choose a barbecue.
Sure. No, I get that. That makes sense. Again, I think that's more of a cultural thing as well then, because I think most British people would choose a choose because barbecues.
Yeah, you guys do like your roast.
Yeah, for like half of Brits especially. For half of Brits especially, I don't know anyone. I know one person I think who knows actually how to barbecue properly, but I feel like it's not as much of a thing over here, but that's probably because of the weather. Because you get so few jobs.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but I just never really. I just assumed everyone knew how to barbecue.
No, I don't know. Well, some of the barbecues. No, some of the barbecues I've been to. Trust me, you wouldn't want to eat what they're cooking.
Oh.
Comes up as like a half raw sausage or something. You're like, no, thank you.
I mean, look, we've all eaten some questionable things at a barbecue before. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, you do. You power through it. You're like, yes, this is great, wonderful.
Exactly. As long as there's some white bread and butter next to it, we're fine.
Nice. Exactly. I'm glad we can agree on that. At least. But yeah, it just seems like a very novel concept having it be so warm at Christmas. I think it's something that a lot of Brits can't relate to because we're used to it just being sitting at home freezing our asses off.
See, I really want to experience a white Christmas or whatever. In my lifetime, I need to spend a Christmas on the other side of the world so that I can experience this cold and I'll definitely complain so much while it's happening because I've never I've experienced snow, but I've never experienced middle of winter snow. I've experienced October, November snow, not the snow.
No,
so,
I get that.
Yeah, I'll definitely complain, but it's on my bucket list of things I need to experience in life.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, who knows?
I will say you need America for that. You don't want to be over here. It won't snow over here. Unless you're up in Scotland or something, It won't snow because we get snow sometimes in February and then it's only a little bit. You can barely make a snowball. Well, especially in London.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I know
bullshit. I thought it snowed.
No.
It's cold?
It's cold, but it never snows. It never snows properly. Again, if you're in Scotland or the north of England, it'll snow a bit more.
Yeah.
But if you're in London, anywhere below the Midlands, you'll get very little snow. It's very disappointing.
Bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
It truly is. It's very upsetting. So I'd recommend America if you want a proper white Christmas.
I'll go to America.
But
I'll find it. But then I've got to not get stuck in some sort of snow. It's a fine line. I want to be in the snow, but I don't want to be dangerously stuck and my power's out and I can't get anywhere in the snow. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it. spread out.
It's treading the line, isn't it? That's the problem. That's the major problem. Well, that sort of brings us on to our first feature. We've been asking a lot of wrestlers this recently, but we've been cutting it out of the podcast because it's not quite Christmas yet. As it's December now, with the time this is going out, we're going to leave this part in, and it'll go out on socials later as well, you know, if Twitter's still around or whatever.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We've just been asking people for their sort of most memorable Christmas moment. And it can be good, it can be bad, it can be weird, it can be, like, funny. But, like, the memory that sticks in your mind the most around sort of Christmas.
Okay, so, like, so I've been with my husband for 9 years now, and every year we go to his family's house for Christmas at some point during the Christmas scene. And for some reason, the first year we started playing board games, and then we ended up being, I think it was like a best of 5 kind of thing or something. And we won, and that was the first year we won. And then the next year we went back, and everyone was like, "Let's play these board games again, like different board games." We had different board games, and then we won. And then his dad presented us with an award for winning and an award for the year before. And so now I think we've played like 8 times, and in 8 years of playing these Christmas games, we have won 6 times.
Oh, impressive!
We've only been defeated twice.
Impressive.
So that's our claim, and we have a trophy wall. We have 6 trophies. His dad gets a trophy every year so that we can brag about it. That's
amazing. I love that. I love the idea of that, and the fact that you actually get like a trophy and you display it as well is.
Oh yeah, we get a trophy. We take a little photo with the trophy. We tag everyone on Facebook that lost, so that they know that they're losers. Everything, all about it.
Take board games seriously.
Oh, very seriously. It's serious business.
I'm glad
there's been many a tantrum.
you expect it, don't you? I mean, I don't think it's a family Christmas without someone losing their mind over a board game.
Absolutely not.
What do you go for? What's the go-to? Because I know over here the classic is Monopoly, but...
Oh, no. We played Monopoly like once. We go for a lot of like trivia-based games. The one that always gets people really, really riled up is 5-second rule. So there's like a question game, and you have like there's a 5-second it'll be like you'll ask a question and it'll be like name 3 things that start with H or something, and they have 5 seconds to give you 3 answers, and it's always 3 answers, whatever the question is, but like people get real riled up, and if that timer doesn't, it gets real intense, but it goes really quick. But it's real intense.
For sure.
Highly recommend.
Oh, you put a timer on anything, like a time limit on anything, and it automatically, the intensity just rises.
Exactly. Everyone just starts yelling, and then you forget everything that you've ever known.
So, as someone who is adept to pressure in the ring and clearly out of it with these board games, how would Shazza McKenzie recommend people to deal with that pressure of sort of like, you know, Christmas family board games, to push that stress aside and get into the zone of what they're going to do?
Just keep your eye on the prize, man. Just eye on the prize. Think about the end game. End game doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. Just that end game. So you can do. You got to focus on the end game.
Love it. What about then, because I know, again, over here, I've never spent Christmas away from England, so all I can go on is my experience. But obviously, Christmas songs are huge over here as well. Like, you know, you get your Whams and your Mariah Careys, and it all comes out straight after Halloween. Like, November 1st, bang, you're in Christmas.
It's there.
Do you get that? Like, are Christmas songs, like Christmas stuff like that, big?
Oh, yeah. If I start going down to the, shopping center or whatever, they're all playing that stuff already. I don't know if it's so much maybe when I was younger, I remember my mum playing Christmas songs all day during Christmas and stuff. I think she tries to do it now, but I'm the youngest of her children and I'm 34, so we all just tell her to turn it off, because we're all adults. And we don't want to listen to that music. But she still tries. She's always like, oh, this is great. And I'm like,
it's the thought, isn't it?
Not. We don't want to listen to this. Yeah.
I was going to say, is that weird? Because Christmas songs generally are very American and British in terms of it's all about the snow and the cold and all that. Is that something that you hear and you're like, I cannot relate to this at all?
There's a bunch of like Aussie bogan, like silly like Aussie Christmas carol songs. Like all the like famous people ones are all about snow or whatever, and it's like we get it. We've watched enough movies, we understand. But there is definitely some like people out there that have like released funny like Aussie like parody ones.
Yeah, more relatable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because I was going to ask you about some like to sort of teach our viewers here some Aussie slang, and you brought one up there, and it's bogan. And I want to ask about
Okay,
this.
I was like, you don't ask me about the C word.
No. I wanted to ask you about bogan because there's a weird like touring like act over here. It's called Bogan Bingo, and it's a bingo night, but everyone's like Aussie and like super Aussie.
Yeah,
but I went to it once with no concept of what bogan meant at all, and I was very surprised.
Yeah, I can imagine how this goes. Bingo, like, bingo's a little bit of a thing here. Trivia nights are a big thing here. People love a good trivia night here. But yeah, bogan's like, it's like the Australian equivalent to like a redneck. Like,
right.
It's just like a very, very like country Australian person.
Gotcha. What about other Aussie slang in terms of, let's say, for our wrestling community? Is there any particular Aussie slang that you think is sort of like need to know if anyone's going to come to Australia? You know, maybe go to a show and wants to interact with a few people, or people interact with them and they need to know a few phrases to decipher.
All right. Well, if someone calls you the C word, they're generally being nice. That's not an insult. But if they call you mate, that's probably an insult. So if someone's like, "Oh, all right, mate," they're being condescending to you, and you're not their mate. If there's one thing you're not, is their mate. If they call you mate,
right? Okay,
that's definitely an insult. I taught someone the other day like the word dog. We call people dog if they're like, I don't know, like a shady person. Like if someone was being a dog mate. Be like telling lies about you behind your back or whatever. So that'd be a dog,
right, like a snake.
Like a snake. Don't be a dog. But yeah, I don't know if there's like, I mean, wanker's the like normal one, but I think that's like British as well.
That's very British.
Yeah, that's like the like standard one that people come to Australia and say or whatever. We don't really have much more than that. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair enough.
C word's a big one.
Yeah, I know that because I know that I've seen a few things of like.
I mean, I definitely would say it. I just figured you'd probably don't want it on your podcast.
Oh no, that's fine. We sort of allow everything here. To be honest, we have sort of no restrictions. We're niche enough that we're not really bothered about like YouTube monetization or anything like that because we're not even at that point. So we're like, free reign. Yes. You can say what you want. But I know that people have said, like, I've seen a few videos online of like people out in Australia, like someone's interviewing people and they're like, oh, what's your favourite swear word? And if they're Australian, the C word is that's the top. That's like the pinnacle.
Absolutely.
It's just, it is quite fun to say.
We just use it as to emphasize things. Like it's the way like, I don't know, Americans would say like fuck. We would just put it in our sentences like that.
Yeah. Like,
it's just like a replacement.
But yeah, I mean, talk to me then. Let's go back to sort of like in the ring action.
Yes.
Because again, we spoke about Christmas, spoke about the year you've had. I noticed the other day you put this list on Twitter of like people that you haven't faced because you wrestle again. There's this whole conversation at the minute going on about intergender wrestling. Oddly enough, I've just noticed as well my camera seems to have fixed itself, so I have no idea what happened there.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, it's always a conversation, and maybe we'll get onto that. But you put this list of like, I've wrestled a lot of intergender matches, but then you put like all these incredible like female wrestlers that you haven't faced yet, and I was like, like half of them, I was like, I can't believe you haven't had those matches. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about like aspirations for 2023. I imagine you want to get as many of those off the list as possible.
Oh, absolutely! I want all of them off the list.
But
ideally,
I mean, what is would you like to see 2023 hold for Shazza McKenzie? Maybe a little bit more gold around the waist, a few more opportunities overseas, something like that?
Yeah, I think I'd like to. Well, I think pre-pandemic, the wrestling scene was in a very different like place, and we were all. I mean, it's in a place that it's kind of getting back to now, where we're also driven by this idea that we had to be signed and we had to like be a certain way, and like that was the only like definition of success. Whereas now, my definition of success is if I can make enough money and if I'm having fucking fun. So, my goal is to I have the most fun when I'm wrestling. If I'm wrestling regularly, I'm having fun. So my goal is to continue to wrestle as regularly as I can, which is going to mean going overseas as much as I can, because there's just not that much wrestling in Australia. It's just not. It just is what it is. It's fine. There's life. So my goal is that like I don't have like I'm not like oh I need to win this many belts or I need to work for this company or like I've had a pretty decent career. I've done like if you went back 15 years ago to the Shaz that walked into training and said, "Hey, you're going to have done all these freaking cool things," like I would have been like, "What are you talking about, mate? Like, no way." So like it's been okay. So I'm at a point now where I can be like, I just want to be creative and have fun, and I just want to have good matches. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing. And like I'm not like I don't have like an end. My end goal is to do this until I don't feel happy doing it anymore. If I don't feel happy doing it, then I won't do it. But right now I'm happy doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes tons of sense. You got to love what you do, right? Especially something so intense when you're putting your body on the line, like most of the time. Like you don't want to be doing it if you don't have that love for it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I love it. It's the only thing I've ever, like. It's the one thing that I'm certain that I love. And from the second that I saw it, I was like, "This is it," and like everyone was like, "You're gonna get over this," and I was like, "No, this is it. Like this is the thing." And they were like, "This is just a phase," and I was like, "No, guys, like this is the thing." And then it's been the thing for since the day I first watched wrestling. So
yeah, absolutely. You always have that love, right? It always sticks right there. That's why we're all here, right? Because we all love wrestling.
Exactly. I think if you get wrestling, if you fall in love with wrestling, you fall in love so like ridiculous. Like there's no like you don't half fan. You can't just be a half fan. Like you're either all in or you just don't get.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
There's no middle ground. You're in or you just don't.
Exactly. People talk about like casual fans, but I don't think there's a thing as a casual fan. If you're a casual fan, it means you're not really that bothered about wrestling, but you'll watch it if it's on.
Yeah.
But like.
Yes, exactly. If you're a fan, you're in. Like you are so in. You like if it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah.
And you've found your people, and this is all you care about. If you don't, then you don't. It's fine. It's just you're in or you're out. There's no middle ground with wrestling fandom.
Exactly. Well, you talk about fans. I know you said that most of your fan base is in America, but people love you over here as well. When are we going to see Shazza McKenzie back in the UK? It's been too long. It has been too long. I definitely do need to get back over to the UK. And now like the scene's like picking back up, and like things are like it was hard for a while. Like things were, especially like women's wise, it wasn't like a big thing, and it's always been like a bit like it's not that it's been that there isn't like the talent in the UK. But I feel like the UK is like a step behind in like showcasing women as much as they possibly can, compared to maybe to America. But don't get me wrong, there's lots of places in America that are horrible at that, but I think there's just more in America that you can like hide it. So I really like that like the women in the UK are like getting a lot more opportunities, and it feels like they're a lot more at the forefront, and they're being treated a lot more highly as they should, because they're some of the best freaking wrestlers in the entire freaking world. So I'd absolutely love to make my way over to the UK again. Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's a really long flight. Like I just went to Germany, and that was a really long flight. So I've remembered how far away England is now. So maybe I'll go to the US and go there for a bit, and then go over, and then go back, and then go because it was a long flight to get to Heathrow.
I was gonna say because technically you have been here, haven't you? Because I had a friend message me and be like, I swear I've just walked past Shazza McKenzie at Heathrow Airport, and I was like, why would Shazza McKenzie be at Heathrow Airport?
Oh yeah, I was at Heathrow Airport for 8 hours.
And then I was like, why would she be there? And then I realised it was WXW weekend. I was like, oh, she's probably just catching a connecting flight.
Yeah, but first I had to sit there for 8 hours. But after it took, there was like it was like a 10-hour flight, a 2-hour layover, then another 13-hour flight, and then the 8-hour layover. So like going to the UK in itself is like 24 hours of actual plane rides plus layovers. So like maybe like 30 hours of traveling. So yeah, when I go back over, it's gonna be for a little while.
It's got to be for like a little while. Don't you? You don't want to go for just a weekend.
I'm not gonna be there for like a weekend. That's gonna be a solid trip.
Well, any promoters watching this, get Shazza booked. We want a whole month of tour here. We want like at least 5 or 6 different promotions. It's got to be a proper slot. Love it.
Proper tour. At least like a couple of shows every weekend. Some days off to go see, I don't know, things.
The classic British stuff. Get a kebab, fish and chips.
Get a kebab. Have some Yorkshire pudding. When I was there, I used to get every Sunday. I used to get there was like this takeaway shop that would do a roast in a cup.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I want.
I mean, because no one has time to always just sit down and eat a full roast, right? You want it portable.
Right. Yeah, that was amazing to me. Like that you could just get a roast in a pot. That's what I crave. I want a roast in a cup.
There we go. We'll buy you one when you're over here. When you come back, if you come back, we'll buy you one as our treat.
Deal.
But I mean, talk to me about, again, you mentioned some of the great wrestlers we've got over here. That's what's in my mind right now, is the fact that if you come back, there's so much talent. There's so many great matches you could have, like Lizzie Evo, Alex Windsor, and Casey Owens, and Alexis Falcon, and like these matches have got to be had.
Absolutely, Charlie Morgan's back. Fucking, let's go! Like, let's go! It's so many. It's so crazy. It's amazing to see all the talent that's over there and doing everything. Like, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, awe of Alex Windsor and her like return to wrestling has just been like, let's go. Love her. I love her to death. I think she's amazing. I very, very briefly wrestled her in a 4-way in like 2015, maybe 2016 at Shine Wrestling. I don't know. Like very briefly, we were in the ring together, and like even then, I was like, this girl is like fucking phenomenal. And now she's even more phenomenal.
You need the proper one-on-one,
tremendous.
Yeah, you need the proper battle.
Absolutely. The proper fucking let's go.
Love it. So many great matches to be had. Hopefully next year we can see that. I mean, talk to me out the ring as well. I wanted to ask you about, because we've asked a few people about this, about sort of like content creation out the ring. I know you have Brand Army, which I don't know much about, I must confess, but I assume it's like Patreon or OnlyFans, similar sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a very similar concept to OnlyFans. It's like big differentiating value, I guess, is that it doesn't allow nudity. So I guess it like has a little bit less of the connotations as OnlyFans, because OnlyFans was created for sex workers by sex workers or whatever. But I like it's all the same. It's like it's the same concept. That's just its like thing is like, hey, you'll like this because like people go on it because they don't want to worry about those connotations or whatever. But yeah, no, I think about like maybe March or April, I was like, hey, I need to like I mean I've had it for like a few months or whatever, and like it was a pretty decent like little bit of money that was coming in, and then one day I was like, no, I want to try and make this like a solid base of income so that I can wrestle for fun, and I'm not wrestling because I have to wrestle to make money. I'm not like going to work because I have to go to work to make money. I'm going to work because I don't want to be bored crapless all day. I want something to do.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Like I was very like, I don't know. I found a way around. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I got very like committed to this being a thing that I wanted to do. And since then it's been growing. It's been growing. Hoping I've got KPIs in my head. I've got goals. I've got spreadsheets. I've got things that I need to. I'm very like analytical because that's what I do for a living. I do data analytics. So I'm very like, what's working, what's not working, what can I do to change this? And then sometimes I'm just sporadic and I just go, hey, I just want to post this random thing because it's funny.
Yeah. No, I was going to say it's the sort of thing where like people think it's just taking a few photos, right? But there's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of like you say, scheduling and like detail that goes into having to do this.
It's exhausting. So like, I know there's like worse things that I could do with my life, but it's exhausting. Because I do that and then I work and then I've started Twitch streaming as well, and then wrestling and then going to the gym and then living my life, seeing people maybe sometimes, who knows, and then like it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. But I thrive on chaos. If I'm doing a million things, that's when I work the best.
Yeah, always busy, never a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. So,
no rest.
So with like things like the Twitch and the brand army stuff, like your photography, like I mean, how much do you enjoy giving fans that sort of like peek behind the curtain of Shazza McKenzie and like I guess more of who you are as a person rather than just in the ring?
I think my willingness to be open with who I am has been a benefit to my career. I think there was definitely a period of time where everyone was like, don't like post about your emotions or like your thoughts and your feelings and don't say anything, just be about wrestling and like because your fans don't want to hear or whatever. But like through being very open about my life struggles and like mental health and everything like that and being personable and being able to talk to people directly and like not having a guard up and stuff, I've been able to build this fan base, which now helps me pay bills.
Yeah.
So, which is not why I did it. I just did it because I have no filter. And now I have a place where like I can just talk to these people and these people are my friends. Some of these people I've like known for like been following my career for like 10 years and like, you know, I've been going to shows and like supporting me for that long. It's crazy. Like, it's just I'm very glad and very thankful that I have them and that I think they like me as a person more than they like me as a wrestler. Maybe they like me as a wrestler. I'm sure it's
a bit equal.
I think I'm just like I think because I don't pretend to be put together because I'm not put together, and I can't pretend that I am. Like life is just life. So.
Yeah. No, I respect that. I respect that because like sometimes social media can be a bit of like a facade and you don't know what's going on behind. But like it's nice to see that you're like so open about it and not sort of there doesn't seem to be any concern about like what people might think if you like open yourself up a bit.
No, absolutely not. And I am certain that there is group chats with other wrestlers making fun of me all the fucking time. But that's life. And I don't care because, like, if me being open and honest about anything helps just one person, like, if you don't like my gym selfies, whatever. I've had people message me and say that my fucking gym selfie getting up at 4 a.m. every day has, like, motivated them to get up and go to the gym. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I've done something good just by being an annoying fucking idiot on the internet that goes to the gym at 4 a.m. every day. So, like, let's go. Yeah. Like, it's fine. I don't give a shit if people are laughing about it. Like,
no, love that. That's great. That's great. Like again, if you help even like one or two people, like that's something, right?
It's all worth it.
Love it, love it. I wanted to ask you one more thing about photos because I know this is something that you've commented on social media, and I'm sure it's quite tongue in cheek because it comes across that way. But like the fact that, and again, and I'm sure it's something that a lot of other wrestlers have to deal with. But the fact that you can post these great photos of you in the ring doing amazing stuff, and it won't get nearly as many likes as a photo of like where you're showing like your butt or something. Like
nothing. No likes. I hate it so much. But it's fine. Like I get it.
I was going to say,
It
like,
is what it is.
that something that you just sort of learn to deal with? And, like, is it a little frustrating? Because you do great stuff in the ring. You do great work. And, like, all your content's fantastic. But is it, like, a little frustrating maybe that, like, that's the thing that people are more focused on?
I think it's, like, it's fine. Like, I get it. As long as when they come to watch me wrestle, they're like being respectful. When they're watching me wrestle, they're being respectful. It's fine, and I get it. So it is what it is. But I just, like maybe a few more likes on my action shots. Just like a few more. Just like a little few more likes.
Raise the profile
just
a bit
like,
more. You raise the profile a bit more. You got to be like, oh, like this picture, or you won't get this picture.
Exactly, like it's like ultimatum kind of bullshit. I mean, need to like this, and then you can swipe across, and then there's that's what I've got to do. I've got to start posting on Instagram, action shot, and then the butt shot, so that they like it.
Yes.
So they're actually liking the butt, but then it looks like they're liking the action shot.
Yes, there we go. We've cracked the code. And with Twitter about to go down, Instagram's going to be the go-to place. So
exactly.
There we go. Cracked it just in time. Well, a couple of other people I wanted to chat about with you is two people we sort of mentioned as part of the Aussie scene, but two people again you've also sort of collabed with your brand Army content, and that's Charlie Evans and Jessica Troy, who are two. Again, I think Charlie Evans gets like all the props she deserves. I don't know how she hasn't been signed yet, but we love her over in the UK. We love her in America. But Jessica Troy, again, I think goes back to one of those ones that I think is just supremely underrated in like the global scene.
She's literally like the best wrestler I know. Literally. Like, she's the best. But yeah, that's the thing. Nobody's watching us. It's annoying. It's like, it's unfortunate. Unfortunately, you've got to just go out because no one's going to fucking come to you and watch you, and we can yell and scream that everyone needs to watch Jessica Troy till the cows come home, but people have such a short attention span that they're going to forget. But everyone should watch Jessica Troy.
Can you bring her over when you do come back to the UK? Can you bring her over?
Mate, I'll be trying.
Can you just stir her in your suitcase? We need her over here.
Constantly trying to I want her everywhere. I want her to be. She, to me, is just. I just don't understand why she doesn't have $1 million right now. It's confusing. She's stunning. She's fucking great wrestler. Like, just I don't understand. Just give her money right now.
Let's do it.
Everyone.
Let's do it.
Obviously. Come on.
Again, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, because we speak about Charlie as well, and I think Charlie is known on that sort of like global stage.
Yeah.
Someone else who again has taken I think a while to get to that stage, but should have been there way earlier. Is someone we spoke about earlier as well, is Joel Bateman, who has just been so good for so long, and it seems like since pandemic finished, it seems like he's been out there going to America, stuff like that, really getting in the spotlight now, which is so deserved for him, especially after all the work he does with DMDU as well.
Absolutely. I don't know how he does. He does some crazy shit, man. Not for me. Not for me. I could do it maybe once. I could not do it the amount of times that he does it in like a span of like 3 days or whatever. No, he's insane. Insane stuff. But God bless him.
Yeah, great wrestler, great guy. Like we had him on the show quite early on, speaking about DMDU and stuff like that, and he's just like the nicest guy. But you wouldn't want to come up in the ring against him.
An angel. Adore him.
The two sides of Joel Bateman: the one that's just lovely, and the one that will make you bleed in the ring.
Does some crazy shit.
Yeah.
He's always like, "When are we having our death match?" I said, "No, sir.
No, thank you.
Not.
Leave that to Charlie. Happening. Charlie does that, right? Charlie's the one always wanting more of that."
I was like, if I was the one person that I want to have a death match with, like the only person I would ever want to have a death match with is Charlie, because so I was Charlie's first match ever, so I think it would be real cute if she was my first death match.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to. I feel like if I open that door, I might go down a path, and I don't know if I'm ready to go down that path. I don't know. So
you might enjoy it too much.
Yeah, we'll leave it for now.
I think that would be a great concept for a death match, though. Like you like agree to take her on, but the whole match is you just trying to avoid her the entire match. Like her coming after you with like the sticks or like with the but like no, thank
you. No, get away. Just chases me around the building.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And then you get one shot in, and that's how you win.
Yeah. 100%.
Love it, love it. Well, we're coming to the end of the podcast now. But we got one final feature. It's called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. And this is a shoot. This is about you. This isn't about Shazza McKenzie anymore. This is sort of like a peek behind the curtain again as to you as a person. It's nothing too strenuous. Don't worry. It's just a little bit of fun. But I'll ask you some questions, and you let me know what comes to mind.
Sounds good.
So the first one is my favorite pre-show meal.
Oh, okay. So before I wrestle, I always have one apple and 1 5-hour energy. Like always, like it's like a crazy like OCD thing I have, doing it for years. To the point where one time I was wrestling in Singapore, and I was getting there, I think the day of the show, and Indy Hartwell had gone there the day before, and she'd gone to the shop and got me an apple because she was like, I didn't know if you'd have time to get your apple, so I bought you an apple. Aww. And I was like, thank you.
Love that.
I had also smuggled an apple from Australia because I didn't know if I was going to have time to get an apple because I was that stressed because I had to have my apple. Please don't arrest me.
How could you? You didn't take it through customs. How? Unbelievable. This is where Shazza McKenzie ends. This is where the police come, and all because of this.
My fucking apple.
Love it. Well, on the opposite end of the spectrum, the next one is my favourite post-pinfall pig out.
Oh, jeez. So we always go to Macca's. Like in Australia, that's the only thing that's open after like 10 p.m. So it's always late night Macca's every time. And so usually if we get there early enough that they're still making the chicken wraps, because I think they stop making them at like midnight. So usually like a chicken wrap and some chips with some sweet and sour sauce.
Nice.
And then a McFlurry with every topping that they have.
Nice.
Every topping.
Love it. I agree with most of that.
Topping.
Not the sweet and sour sauce. Also, if you are over here, don't tell Warren Banks because he loathes the sweet and sour sauce. We had him on the podcast.
I love Warren Banks.
He went all on about that. He went on about how sweet and sour sauce is the worst thing. And if I'm honest, I kind of agree with him.
He gave me a bed one night when I was over there in 2019, and now I regret that, staying in such a traitor's house.
How could you?
Man that doesn't like sweet and sour sauce.
Just get him a big tub next time you come over. Just be like, there you go.
I will.
Love it. Well, the final food-based one is just your favourite food in general. Favourite type of food in general.
Ice cream.
Nice.
Because there's always room for ice cream.
Do you have a go-to flavour?
Always. Probably the fish food by Ben and Jerry's.
Yes,
that's probably like my number one. Yeah.
You've won me back there. I agree with that. I love fish food. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Actually, while we're on the subject of food, away from these questions, as you're an Aussie, we've got to ask, because this is a feud that Charlie Evans and Matt Kurt have had for years. Fairy bread, overrated, underrated?
Oh, fairy bread's great. Fairy bread's fucking delicacy.
Is it? It's just such a bizarre thing. It's just such a bizarre thing.
I love it. I haven't had it for years. I could really go some right now, because now I've just discovered, now that we're talking about food, I've realised I'm very hungry. Maybe I'll have an apple.
It's not quite the same as fairy bread. Not quite the same.
It's not. It
won't hit that same craving.
No, I do really want some fairy bread now. Maybe I'll go to the shops and get some fairy bread making. I'm falling asleep. Oh, okay.
It's all right. The fairy bread will give you some energy afterwards.
Yep, we'll go. We're good.
It's all right. There's not much longer left, and I'll let you get to bed. But the next one is the song that gets me the most hyped.
Oh gosh. Let's see. What do I? Oh. You know what? Probably like Lizzo, "Truth Hurts."
Nice.
That gets you going. Like that's you're gonna pop off when that song's playing.
Nice. Well, the next one leading on is my favourite band of all time. It doesn't have to be a band; it can be like a solo artist. But...
Okay, well then it's Taylor Swift.
Right there we go.
Yeah. Taylor Swift.
Did I see online that Sean Rossap from Fightful invited you over to go see Taylor Swift with him?
So when the Midnights album came out, right? So it was like I was in America when it came out, and we had a show that night. And then on the way home from the show, it was like a 4-hour drive, I think, post show. But everyone that was at the show, we were like, midnight, the fucking album comes out. It's fucking happening. And so, like, we're in the car. It gets to midnight, and we're all like, our car's like trying to get the thing, and Spotify's like crashing. And so we're all trying to get onto it. And then we finally got the album playing. And then, like, I'm messaging like the other cars. I'm like, you guys are on. You got it. You've got it. Like, and then Sean Ross Sapp's messaging me. He's like, do you want to come on? We're doing like a live like Taylor Swift reaction like podcast or whatever. And he called me for like, but I didn't realize I was gonna be like straight on air. I thought he was gonna like be like, oh hey, we're about to go on now. But he's like, he just called me straight on air and just started like yelling at like it was just like fuck you or whatever, like Taylor Swift, and I was like, Jesus, okay. I was like, oh, we're going straight into gimmick. My bad. I've misread the room. This was like 1 a.m., so it was very overwhelming. But yeah, big on the Taylor Swift.
Love it. Love it.
Big on the Sean Ross Sapp as well.
Yeah, both great. Both great in different ways.
Yes.
The next one is well, if you've seen her, it might be this because it's the best gig I've ever been to.
I have been to Taylor Swift, yes.
And was it the best gig you've ever been to?
Yeah, I've been to her and Miley Cyrus, and the Miley Cyrus one was also really fucking good.
Nice.
It's like Miley Cyrus was smaller, so like I don't know, they're both really good. They were both really good. Miley Cyrus was a bit wild though, so like
I can imagine, yeah.
This was like bangers era Miley Cyrus,
right?
So it was like short hair, like riding a wrecking ball. So
nice.
It was kind of popping. So
yeah, that is iconic. That's an iconic era of like music.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those two.
Nice. The next one is the movie that I showed the locker room.
The movie that I showed the locker room?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is so during the lockdown, so I'm just like talking shit now. But so during like lockdown, a way to like, I don't know, keep ourselves sane or whatever, and also just to like have fan interaction is every Saturday night we did hashtag PWA movies.
Right.
Which was everyone would like, so we'd get like the fans involved or whatever, because we'd all be locked in our houses and we'd watch a movie and we'd be like, at 8 p.m. we're starting this movie, and then we'd all just tweet through the movie or whatever, like everyone would react to the movie.
Nice.
And so each week there'd be like 3 wrestlers would pick a movie. And so every week no one would let me put a movie into it because I kept wanting to put like rom-coms in, and then eventually I got put into it. And I made everyone watch Crazy Stupid Love, and then everyone was like, oh, this was a great movie. And I was like, I know, guys. I was like, I know it's a good movie. They were like, we thought you were going to make us watch The Notebook. I was like, yeah, I probably would. But like, I was being smart. Like, I was trying to give you like a good rom-com that like you guys could also like. Because Crazy Stupid Love is like, I finally accepted that it's one of my favorite movies after watching it like 50 times.
Finally got to that point.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe I do like this movie, huh?
Well, I mean, history maker Shazza McKenzie, the first person who we've asked that question to who has actually shown the locker room the movie. So,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love that. The next one is, if you ever get time for it, it's my favourite way to relax.
Oh, I don't know. Not doing anything. Lying there. Stopping.
Just splayed out on the bed, nothing. Just like, no more.
Doing nothing. Scrolling TikTok and doing nothing.
Love it. TikTok's dangerous, though. Scrolling TikTok's a dangerous thing.
Man, when they started putting those ads in that say, hey, you still want to be watching this? You want to go to bed? Bullshit. I know what I'm doing.
Don't judge me.
Fuck off, mate. Don't you fucking come for me. I'm aware that it's 2 a.m. I have chosen this.
This is my life now.
Yeah, bullshit.
Love it. The next one's a bit of a throwback because it's my first job.
My first job was Macca's.
Classic.
McDonald's, yes, classic. I worked there for about a month.
Nice. How was it?
13. Look, it was great. I think, I don't know. I don't really remember much. All I know is that a girl stole $200 out of my till, and then the managers were like, hey, there's $200 missing from your till. And I was like, I'm 13. I don't need this job. Goodbye. They were like, yeah, so like, this is a warning. And I was like,
well, yeah. They didn't even like investigate that it might not have been
you.
Yeah,
I was like, I mean, it was, I'm old, so this is a long time ago. It wasn't me. I wish it was me, then I'd have $200. but I didn't. I just was like being interrogated, and I just thought, oh, like I'm 13. I do not need this. So goodbye. Like, and then they were like, I remember I didn't go like to my next shift, and they were like calling the house, and I was like, I'm not going. Like, you accuse me of stealing. I don't need this job. Like, I have no life expenses. I'm 13.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I do not need this.
Also, it's like, I'm 13. If I wanted a lot of money, I would have stolen $20 because, like...
Yeah, I would have been like, fuck yeah, $20. I'm going for fucking two 100 bills straight off the bat.
Outrageous. Well, if I'm honest, it says a lot on your part that you still, care about Macca's enough to go back there after shows, because you could have just boycotted it easily.
Yeah, I could have. I don't go back to that Macca's, so maybe I'm a little bit still.
You're walking out the door. You've quit Macca's, and they're like, "What are you gonna do for a living? Wrestle?"
And I was like, yeah, exactly. And then I did. So,
so fuck you. Love it.
Yeah.
The next one, it's sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum to that, because it's if I wasn't a wrestler, I'd be
a data analyst. I genuinely really like spreadsheets. I didn't do any like school or like I didn't like think that I was going to like I didn't like grow up and be like I think I really like accounting, or I don't do accounting. I've thought about it. I've been like, oh, maybe I want to do accounting, and then I looked at an accounting textbook and I thought, I don't want to do that. That sounds
Not
like studying. Yeah. No. But like I'm not a good studier, but like if I'm being paid to do a job, I will learn everything that I need to learn, and I will like go above and beyond. And which is how I didn't know anything about Excel when I got the job that I have now, and like now I've been there for like 10 years, so I've like learned I know too much, and I'm like, fuck guys, Excel is great and everyone should play with Excel. And then I'm always like, they're always like, oh, can you do a report about this? And I'm like, can I? Let me.
I can.
Yeah, I can. And they're like, wow, why are you so excited? I'm like, because this is exciting. Like data entry, boring. Reports, exciting.
Shazza McKenzie, mega Excel nerd right here.
Mega Excel nerd. Not great at PowerPoint. Do love Excel though.
Love it. The next one is my favorite animal.
Ooh, my puppy.
Of course,
just my puppy. No other puppy.
No other animals.
Just mine.
Other animals, fuck them. They don't matter.
Get away. Just Chip.
Oh, a dog's your favorite animal in general, though, or like?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. I think so. Like, I don't know. I'm never like, oh my god, this is like the animal that I resonate with the most. But probably, I don't know.
Nice.
I mean, I like all animals. I'm not like opposed to any animals. I always wanted a dog that was my dog. Like we had a family dog growing up, but I always wanted a dog that was mine. And now I have a dog that's mine. And so now my dog is my favorite dog.
He's top tier dog. No dog, other dogs compare.
Exactly.
No, I understand. Not with dogs. I have guinea pigs, but I understand.
I had guinea pigs as a kid. Didn't love them as much as I love my dog. I'm going to be honest.
They'd be so devastated to hear that.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I'm keeping it real.
I understand. I appreciate the honesty. We always like honesty here. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
The next one gets a little deep because it's my greatest fear.
Being old. literally being physically being unable to like move and being old in that sense. Like my biggest fear it's not growing old. Like I want to grow old. Like I want to be mature. I just don't want my body to break.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. You want the comfort of age without the drawbacks that come with age.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that. No,
you're gonna get I can get Botox and stuff, but like I just don't want my body to like break down.
No, you're gonna be Ric Flair, I'm sure of it. You're gonna be still wrestling at 70, like.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be Ric Flair either. Like I don't.
Maybe not all the aspects of Ric Flair. No one wants to be all the aspects of Ric Flair. Just the wrestling part. Just like just the purely the wrestling at 70 or being able to wrestle at 70.
Okay.
No other parts. We don't want you to be those parts.
No.
Those are bad parts.
Okay, good.
Those are bad parts and a bad person, if I'm honest. But
yeah. A little bit, eh?
just a tiny bit, right? Just a tiny bit. But people don't seem to mind because he's a wrestling legend, and so that gives him a pass, right?
Woo.
That's a whole other topic. We could go down a whole tangent on that,
But Charlotte is the best, and I won't hear a bad word about her.
No, she is wonderful, excellent wrestler.
She's the fucking greatest.
Yeah.
Love her. I will fight everyone on Twitter because I love her. Like, that is the one thing I'm willing to fight for on Twitter. But now I'm not going to be able to fight about it on Twitter, but I would. Sorry.
I would if I could, but I can't anymore. Need people. That's all right. People will know that. We'll put this clip out, and everyone will know that you would if you could.
I would. Absolutely.
Love it. A couple of wrestling-related ones now. This is a two-parter because it's my favourite wrestling match ever, and I want one that you've been in and one that you've watched.
Okay. My favourite wrestling match that I've been in is it was me and Madison Eagles in 2017 at the House of Hardcore show in Sydney, Australia, because it was a show that was a House of Hardcore show. It had like the Young Bucks on it, had like the Spirit Squad, it had Tommy Dreamer, it had Billy Gunn, it had all these real famous people on, and there was like 2 other locals maybe on it, and then we were the only women's match that they did the whole tour, and we went out there in front of like 2,000 people that had no fucking clue who we were, and then by the end we had them in the palm of our hands.
Love it.
We got booked on all the other tours, and they came back, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, that was the best women's match we've ever watched." And I was like, "Yeah, we're fucking phenomenal." But of course it was because Madison Eagles was in it because she's fucking great.
And because Shazza McKenzie was in it.
Yeah, but like mainly because Madison just can wrestle herself. Like, it's very impressive. You're just there. It just happens around you. So like that's like my favorite match that I've been in. And then my favorite match that I've watched is this King of Trios match from, I want to say it's 2009. I think it's 2009 King of Trios, and it's Team Uppercut versus Team. Fuck, what are they called? What is the other team called?
Is it the Masters of 1,000 Holds? Johnny Saint, George Rivera, Mike Quackenbush. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. See, I couldn't tell you that much.
Yeah, because it's like is it Mark Taylor's own Team Uppercut?
Yeah.
And then Johnny Saint was on Masters of 1,000 Holds. Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, I feel like they were both in the match, and I don't remember which side they were on.
I had a similar one recently. I can't remember who we were talking to. We spoke to someone recently. We were talking about the Ring of Honor, the first main event in Ring of Honor, and I couldn't remember who was in it. And I was like, is it Christopher Daniels or Bryan Danielson? Am I going to get mixed up? And they were both in it, and that's why I was getting confused because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, exactly.
No, fair enough. I just closed my list with the questions. Oh, the next one's in person I'm going to ask you for because it's the loudest pop I've ever heard.
Ooh. Loudest pop I've ever heard. I've been to you know what? I was at WrestleMania when Kofi Mania happened.
Yes, that would have been a pop.
That was a pop.
Yeah.
I was in the crowd for that. That was a big fucking pop.
Yeah.
My biggest pop of the night was the Iconics won the tag belts that night. And I crumbled to the floor and cried, and then my husband was like, "You're being dramatic," and I was like, "I'm not being dramatic, they just won the belts." And he was like, "No, you're being embarrassing," and I was like, "Ah!" And everyone else around me was like, "Why is this girl fucking crying on the ground? This is fucking weird." And I was like, "Leave me alone."
No, I get
they
you.
won the belts. This is really cool. They said they were gonna do it, and then they did it.
No, I understand. That was my biggest pop of the night as well when the Iconics won. I was like, they deserve that so much. Like, it was all leading up to them having to win it, and I didn't think they would. I thought they were going to swerve it, and
yeah, I didn't think they were going to win it. I was not prepared for it at all, and I was like, this is happening. This is what they said they wanted, and they did it. Like, I remember when they were in NXT telling me how much they like wanted tag titles in NXT, and like So like they kept pitching for tag belts when they were in NXT. So then for them to win the women's tag belts, I was like at WrestleMania, I was like, let's go.
A literally iconic moment.
Yes. We love them. We stand them.
Love it. Always. The next one is my favourite venue to wrestle in.
Ooh, Maxwatts, which is a venue in Sydney, Australia.
Nice. What is
like
about
our
it?
home venue. It's not called Maxwatts anymore. It got went out of it, got sold or whatever during the pandemic because pandemic freaking ruined everything. And all live events. It's now called Liberty Hall, and we haven't been back yet. But when we do get to go back, let's go.
You're going to be very happy.
Yes.
Love it. Only a couple of questions left. The next one is my favourite place in the world.
That's hard. Probably can I just say America?
Yeah. You can go as big or small as you want.
I was going to say America. I'm going to go America as a whole. I'm not going to choosing if my favorite part of America is a bit harder. Probably LA. It's like California in general. It's just such a nice place. But yeah.
Nice.
Around there.
Love it. Well, the final one then is my dream holiday destination.
Ooh. You know what? I'd really like to go to one of those I always see it on TikTok and Instagram where they're in the huts and they're in the water and they just walk out and they're in the. I don't know where it is. I want to say the Maldives.
Yeah, I think it's Maldives.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I want to say that's maybe. But I just want to go. I want to be in one of those little huts. I don't know. I don't where you just walk in and you're in the water. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds really nice.
It does, doesn't it? It's like one of those.
I think I'd get bored. I think I'd get bored pretty quickly, but it sounds nice like a day too.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those ones, isn't it? Where you say, you sort of you go there, you put it on the gram, you spend a day there, and you're like, but then you realise the next day is exactly the same.
In fact, yeah, there's nothing else there. You're in a little tent thing. I don't know.
And you can't go out and do anything. There's only water.
Exactly. There's not there's a bunch of activities or hiking or shops to go to or that's where you are. Enjoy it.
Both the dream and the nightmare holiday destination.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go there maybe two nights. We'll go 2 nights one day.
Sweet overnight trip. Love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Shazza McKenzie, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Like I say, it's been a pleasure. It's been great to hear about wrestling in Australia and all your sort of loves of Christmas and everything like that leading up to the festive season. And hopefully we'll see you back in the UK at some point next year as well. But we always end our podcasts with giving our guest one final bit of promo time. So whether it's in Australia or out in America, or whether you make your glorious return back to the UK in 2023, why is Shazza McKenzie always going to steal the show?
Because I'm fucking hilarious and great. I think I'm going to steal the show because I am absolutely, every time I go into the ring, I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. I have this tattoo that I got earlier this year behind my ear that says Miraki, which means to put your heart, your soul, and a bit of your love into your work, which is what I do every time I wrestle. And I believe everything of me in the ring, whether I'm wrestling in front of 10 people or 10,000 people, and whether I'm wrestling for 5 minutes or I'm never wrestling for 50 minutes, but maybe one day. I don't really want to, but that's it.
Sweet Iron Man match incoming.
Yeah.